We are now just 2 days away before we get access back into the caverns. And just like last time, we have some patch notes to go through talking about some of the changes made for this competition wave. I'm also going to tell you sort of my plan on how I'm going to tackle it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hello everyone, Raidwood here, back with another Godforge video. And yes, as said in the intro, we've got some patch notes and I'm going to tell you my plan of action. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the patch notes because there's going to be a lot of videos dropping on it. So I'm just going to talk about some highlights that I think are quite impactful, and then I will move on to, say, my plan of action, and I will leave timestamps down below so you can skip through all of that should you not wish to watch this part. Anyway, so patch notes. Starting at the top, we now have a star counter. This is a nice little quality of life change that we've got here. I really like that. And now they've also made stage 125 the place that you can farm your eternal alchemy stones. This is something I called for a little while ago before wave 2. Something that I'd really like to see changed, and I'm so glad that they have done it. Top work from the Fateless team. Now, in these patch notes, there have been changes to some abilities and imprints, and Dagonet is one of them. Now, his previous imprint said something along the lines of had a percentage chance to join an attack when someone was below a certain HP threshold. As you can see, that has now changed completely. We now have a 50% chance to increase this hero's turn meter by 5% if a debuff is placed. Now, there's going to be a lot of uproar about this potentially. A lot of people use this to climb the tower, but I don't think this is a bad replacement depending on how it works. Let's take a look at bleeds, for example. Achilles places 3 bleeds on his basic. Now, if he gets 5% per bleed placed, so potentially he's getting 15% every time he auto attacks. He also places Retaliate on himself, so then he'll place more bleeds, etc., etc. The same could apply with Dracula, so potentially this still has the potential to be very strong on certain heroes, but I think we can all admit the previous version was quite egregious when it came to this cavern experience. And so whilst I didn't expect quite the radical change we're seeing here, I'm certainly not surprised that we saw one full stop. But I say, I still think this has the potential to be pretty good with certain heroes. So yeah, that was one thing to point out. The next thing to point out is the Heka weapon. Now, this was one that basically everyone used everywhere. They've now flipped it. So at the start of the battle, we convert 50% of our attack into HP. It used to be 10% of HP into attack, so you would get a ridiculous number of attack if you just scaled your HP. You were sort of encouraged to build slayers with HP percentage items because you would get more attack than what the attack percentage item would give you, and it just sort of didn't make sense. It was also OP on brawlers. Now, this way around, I think you're more inclined to use it on slayers. You can build attack onto them and then get that HP as extra survivability. So, like the change, is it temporary? Is it permanent? Who knows? I imagine it's going to be a permanent change going into launch. And I actually personally think this is quite a nice change. Shamash then. Shamash was a key part of making these unkillable teams and all of that kind of stuff. Because of the barrier that he could stack, you would place a shield unit, then use Shamash to make the barrier. The barrier would never get touched. And then you would make sort of like a Wixwell comp in Raid, where you just have infinite barriers, infinite shields. They've now changed that. He no longer places barrier, he places shield instead. This is huge. This is massive. It's very clear that barriers themselves are just have been the main issue for a lot of this. Having this change to shield, I don't know if it makes the comps unusable, but it doesn't make them unkillable anymore. So that's certainly something that the team were clear that they didn't want unkillable comps. in these sort of competitions, and even just through to future in clan boss and things like that. They want to encourage other builds, and this is certainly one way to go about it. Now, as I say, I don't think it's unusable. You can pair this with Heimdall, and so you can always keep your shields up and that kind of thing. But I think it certainly gets rid of, say, the immortality. So that was a big one. And then just looking at the sheet that we've got, there's a few things to point. We're not going to read the entire thing, but I had theorized that bleeds, acid, and blazes weren't working as intended. It has been confirmed here. So they were actually doing 100% of the damage, not 25 like they should have. So that has now been rectified. Be interesting to see how these dot mechanics work with some of these bosses. I know a lot of people used Achilles for Golden Guardian. I didn't. I utilized Herc and Ramses, but same thing. Acid is being affected as well. So it's definitely something to look at and a notable change. They also mentioned that they've changed some of the divinity generators as well as with certain weapons. Previously, in some cases, they would generate actions by heroes outside of their turn if an ally received a buff. Now, this is referring to Aphrodite, I imagine. Now, generators will be focused on the hero, requiring them to perform the actions to earn the divinity. So the way that I read this is, previously, if you had Shamash and Aphrodite together, when Shamash used his ultimate, he would place attack up, radiance, and all that, which would boost Aphrodite's divinity meter, because hers said whenever a buff is placed, gain divinity. Now it looks like she's only going to gain it when she places buffs. Now, she only places a couple on her core, and then she places speed up on herself. So, again, the sort of unlimited ultimate comps as well that sort of showed in Alpha Wave 2, again, might certainly be a lot harder to utilize, which again is not a bad thing. It encourages other comps to be made. But I think this is a positive change in the long term as well. So, but that's how I read that. Obviously, you might read it differently. Let me know if you do. But yeah, it seems that people's own divinity generators now are only going to be affected by what they do themselves, per se. Fafnir will now ignore Immortal in addition to shields, barriers, and walls after he casts 20 ultimates. This was supposed to happen last time out, but the way it worked is the 20th ultimate would do it, and then the 21st would not. So whether that's been fixed, I don't know. This is an important one. He now, at 500 turns, the game ends. That's it. There's no leaving it running for 9 hours to get a high score. It's just going to cut out at 500 turns. And this is another massive change for this competition wave, encouraging you to get out as much damage as possible in a shorter amount of time, rather than building like these sustain comps. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in there. They've increased the drop rate of epic heroes in stages 16 and 120. That's nice. So if you want to be farming your 4-star chickens, 60 and 120 will be the way to go, especially 60 early on when we're looking to get those heroes to 5-star to help progress in the caverns. Looks like floor 60 Golden Guardian is going to be the place to go. Increase better armor drop rates from 60 plus, but it's always nice. Updated the generated epic and legendary heroes on stages 20 and 30. So the pool has changed. How many have changed, we do not know, but I'm not surprised to see that. I think Hercules and Sphinx were the big pools to get on floor 30, so it'd be interesting to see if they're still there. And just to show you at the top here as well, as you can see, we've got the wave, turn count, all of that kind of stuff. So it's going to help you plan not just in the bosses, but also in the waves. If you want to save your ult for the last wave to blitz through it and you've forgotten, it's now written up there, which is lovely. And we've also got a hero roster counter here as well, which again is super useful for knowing when you're going to need to start emptying or crunching heroes so you don't lose potential legendaries as imprints. So for the second part, I have made myself much bigger, and that is because I've got my stream playing in the background, and I was confusing myself with me moving in the background behind me. So there we are. As you can see, I'm just leaving my previous stream. So this is my climb from wave 2 on in the background, and I think that this is a good thing to have in the background whilst we talk about what my plan of attack is. So in wave 2, I actually started with Guan Yu. And I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to pick Guan Yu once again. After using him in wave 2, my thoughts on him changed an awful lot. And I think he provides a lot of value in the boss fights. His wave clear isn't fantastic, but early on it's not an issue. And in that time, hopefully we can pick up another wave clearer. Normally you can get Ramses and Lady Shock before his lack of wave clear becomes an issue. Not that it is a lack, but it's just certainly not as strong. And I think his max HP is going to be massive in this third wave. And they've made a lot of bug fixes and things like that. And my hope is that they've also fixed Shishi. Now, they have fixed his barrier. It was applying to everyone rather than just himself. So my hope is that they have also fixed his core ability, which allows a Tian ally to join up with him in a follow-up attack. That is the case. All of a sudden, Guan Yu and Shishi become amazing in the boss fights as well for more max HP damage. So that is what we are going to pick and start off with and hope that we get, say, a Shishi along the way. I have also been semi-ruining my sleep pattern to be able to stream this quite late. So at the time of recording, it is Monday afternoon for me. I actually went to bed at 6 o'clock Monday morning. I was up playing Bazaar all night, which is really fun. So I could wake up late and get into that pattern. So when it drops at 4 o'clock my time, hopefully I can play into the night. I am going to try and push. I would love to be the first one to clear the tower like in wave 1. There was a lot of competition in wave 2. The leaderboards were broken, so I don't know where I finished. I'd like to think top 20, but I've got no way of knowing. That's just looking at what other people shared and seeing the 151 scores when they were posted. I think I would have finished in the top 20. Now, those same people are also playing, so there's a very good chance as well that I get nowhere near. But if you count yourself out the race before you start, you've already lost, right? So I'm going to give it a go, try and be the first to get to 151. I'm also confident that between a group of Alpha Voice chat members that I got to know quite well in Wave 2, that between us, one of us will end up getting the top score as well. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I am going to give it a go. I am going to fight for it. Obviously, these changes might change my plan of action. Initially, what I was going to do was, in fact, do you know what? Rather than talking casually, let's actually go into step by step, sort of what my plan is. So, the heroes that I am looking to focus on and work on. My starter hero, Guan Yu. I'm going to be taking him to 50 as quickly as I can because I know I'm going to need that to get to sort of 90 and above. Other heroes I'm looking out for is Shishi, as mentioned earlier. Isolde is a guaranteed drop. It's important to level her, say get her to 40, put her in HP gear, and away you go. I'm going to be looking for another defender as well as Shishi. Brunhild is my ideal. Failing that, Hound of Duat is very nice. Tristan will work, and of course, if you get Heimdall, Sphinx, or Horus, you're golden. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh yeah, grab a Zeus and then level them up to clear floor 40, whatever, because you're just not going to get there, right? Shishi is accessible and a very good unit, pairs fantastically with Guan Yu. Isolde is great as well. If I can get a Skadi or a Mordred, that's my control sorted. I don't mind which one I get, but I'm going to be looking for those as well. And again, I'm going to be taking them to level 40 initially. Don't need to take them any higher. If I can get them with enough speed and accuracy, doesn't matter what level they are, to do their job, they can still do it at 40. So I'm not overly investing in heroes like that rank-wise. Gear is going to be important for them. Then I'm going to be looking for another damage dealer. Ramses or Lady Shock will be fine. Ramses would be preferable. Icarus, I think, fell off for me in Wave 2. Gilgamesh has been nerfed into the ground. So Ramses would be great. If I can get a Zeus, obviously fantastic. But, you know, let's not live in a dreamland, magical Christmas land. We're looking at realistic targets. So Ramses would be the one for me. Icarus, if you get him, you know, try him out. I wasn't too impressed in Wave 2, but maybe that is just me. But if we recap, essentially, Guan Yu, Ramses, Isolde, Skadi, Shishi, Brynhild. That's 6 heroes. 6 heroes that I'm confident will carry me the vast majority of the way through the Caverns. If I can pick up an Achilles or a Bleeds champion along the way, fantastic. But that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to be using those to climb the vast majority. I know I'll be able to brute force wave 30 or floor 30 using 2 defenders and Isolde strategy. Same with Golden Guardian. I'm confident that I'll be able to get through it with Guan Yu's max HP. I am not going to be farming any floors until I get stuck. Essentially, that is the game plan. Don't go farming for weapons early on. Don't go necessarily farming for lots of XP. Just keep progressing as you can. Only when you hit a point and you get stuck do you go back farm gear, that kind of thing. I'm not going to be worrying about 2-starring everything either. I'm just going to be ploughing on through like anyone else would. The only stages that I am going to be looking to potentially farm early is 68. Why 68? It's your first opportunity to get the Thunderbolt weapons. Now we know Heka has changed. I imagine Solar Flare will have changed to some degree because that was another egregious weapon. Thunderbolt may or may not, but assuming that it hasn't, Thunderbolt I think is going to be very key to clearing some of these harder boss fights. So I want to get myself a few of those. You can farm them on 68 and 98, and then 128. Obviously, 120 I think is going to be the first major stumbling block for me. So 68 and 98 are going to be the 2 floors that I'm going to be looking to farm. Heka's, now we've seen the change, they might still be useful. So again, Heka's 88 is where I'm going to be farming those. Outside of that, no farming. Say, unless I get stuck or if I need speed boots, those are the only 2 occasions I'm going to be farming. And that's sort of my basic plan, at least for like the first day. Obviously, depending on what we get, will affect how we go about things. But yeah, I'm looking to build maybe 6 heroes and say, and only farm a few weapons. And that's kind of it. Stats over sets, not worried about farming gear sets. I just want speed boots for the most part. So yeah, only if we get stuck there, maybe I'll farm, is it 89, 87? The 80s that dropped Falcon, I think, possibly. And that's sort of it, guys. That's sort of my plan of attack. So I will be live streaming the moment it drops, the moment I'm able to get into the game. And it's potentially going to be a long one. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. This little journey's been wild in the short time that we have been playing Godforge. You know, we gained an awful lot of subscribers. I'll put a quick screenshot up there of my sort of monthly best totals. Thank you so much to have become members on YouTube, to Beth, and I think it's DJ Bad Hands. It was DJ Bad Hands. So yes, thank you very much to the pair of you. Really appreciate it. I'm excited to get on this journey once again. Hoping you are going to come along for the ride. So yes, catch us live streaming on Wednesday. Thank you very much for watching. So take care, look after yourselves, work hard, but as always, play harder. And I will see you in another one soon. Cheers.